Well, good morning and happy Friday, all. Welcome to this edition of Balance in Life. I'm CrystalTyler-Mackey. Happy to welcome you on behalf of Virginia Cooperative Extension, our Human Development Program team, and our partners in this webinar series, North Carolina Cooperative Extension. Today, Bethany, Herman, and I are happy to host one of our colleagues, Sarah Pratt, who's going to come on and talk with us about those nagging, sometimes stressful, sometimes seemingly never-ending to-do list that we know we all have, right? Whether we're like me, the person who just relishes in checking something off of the to-do list, or you really don't have one, but you still have that list in your head of all the things that you need to do. So we're gonna get some tips from Sarah and learning how we can take care of some of those nagging things on our to-do list and make space for things that might even be of more importance to us. So Sarah, it's so good to have you on this side of Balance in Life. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here today. Let me get started. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's what I'm saying. Sarah pulls up her slide deck. Herman and Bethany and I will be monitoring the chat. We see some of you have gotten started already, but we are a group that likes to engage in the chat. So feel free to meet up with us there. If you do chat, know that if you do nothing, your chat will only come to Sarah, Bethany, Herman, and I. If you want to chat with everyone, which we hope you do, just choose that drop-down menu that says everyone. All right, Sarah, we are ready.
All right. So I am very excited to be here today and talking about a subject that I'm pretty passionate about, and I've done this topic with my teen club. It's been well received with my teen club, and so I'm excited to get into it with you guys today. Before I get started, I do want to say, I want to acknowledge that everyone is in a different place in life, a different space. We have different responsibilities. You know, some of us are working, some of us are going to school, maybe raising a family or taking care of ill or elderly loved ones. Some of us might struggle with chronic health issues. So I think, and many other things, I think we're just on a wide spectrum, and some of us have a combination of all of those things. So I want to acknowledge that and just say that sometimes I think we live in an atmosphere sometimes of busy. And I know that I've been in conversations with colleagues, with friends, and in a women's group I'm in about, it's almost like a one-up competition thing about how busy we are, and we kind of wear it like a badge of honor, and sometimes that makes us suffer and the quality of our life suffer as a result. So when we talk about this today, we just want to be aware overwhelm is different for everyone, and so I hope some of the tips I give you can be helpful. Just to give you an idea of where I'm coming from, I am a 4-H youth extension agent, and that job has a lot of hours. I'm also a single mom of an 18-year-old high school senior. So I'm past the stage where I have to, you know, ferry him everywhere, and he's more independent. And so not at the busiest time of my life, but I'm not at the slowest time of my life either. So with that said, let's get started. Okay, so today
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you want to put it in presenter mode. We're seeing all the slides.
Is it? Oh no.
It's okay, it happens.
Especially on dual screen and this webinar, it does something wonky sometimes.
Yes, it does.
That's right. And and I have it in presenter mode on my other screen. So let me
that happens, especially with two screens.
Let's see if I can.
Something that happens in the Zoom webinar rather than the Zoom meeting feature.
Did that put it into presenter mode at all?
Not
Okay.
Yet.
So let me try stop share and reshare and see if that helps.
Herman, I saw your post, that not even realizing that you're stressing out. I feel the same way.
Yeah, you don't even know it. You know, I have to have people tell me, you look like you're stressed out. Oh, really? Oh, yeah, maybe I am.
Yep.
That looks perfect, Sarah.
Yeah.
Okay,
yep.
great. Awesome. Okay, so just a little overview about what we're going to talk about kind of quickly in the next few minutes is we're going to start off talking about getting your to-do list under control. And you're going to have a chance to kind of work on that yourself a little bit. And then we're going to finish up looking at long-term goals. You might have read books about productivity and goal setting. You might have heard about SMART goals. We're not talking about how to be more productive today. We're talking about how to take what we have and improve our quality of life. So this is not a how to be more productive and get more things done. It's just how to maintain what we have. And so, I kind of look at it as like wrestling my to-do list into submission, just to get it under control. And so to start off, we are, I'd like you to grab a piece of paper if you're able. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be the back of something. Just you want to use something that gives you room to do a quick to-do list and leaves you space in your left-hand margin, and space to write on it. So I'll give you just a couple seconds to do that. And while you're looking for paper and something to write with, I'll tell you what we're getting started on. We're going to do a brain dump. And basically, we're going to capture all of those things that are flying around in your head. I think Crystal said some of us keep it on paper and some of us keep it in our heads, but right now we're going to capture it all on paper. If you already have a to-do list, but you don't have a lot of space on it, you may want to just rewrite, or you can work with the to-do list that you already have. But we're just going to take a minute. Everything that comes in your brain, you're going to write it down. I'm not talking about more long-term things like you've been saying for the past 6 months, you should paint the front porch or something like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like your immediate, maybe within the next couple of weeks, things that you have to get done. And so I'm just going to set a timer, and you may not get everything written down in the minute. That's okay. You can come back and add more later. This is just to get us started. So with that said, I'm going to start the minute and go ahead and write down everything that you can think of. Okay, and that is time. So even if you haven't finished, that's okay. You can come back and add later. The example that I have on the screen is a shorter version of my to-do list. I just wanted to kind of space it out so that you can see and read it. And so we're going to go to our first step after we make our to-do list. And this next step, this is the hard part for me. I struggle a little bit with overthinking and kind of wanting to be everything to be perfect. And so sometimes that kind of keeps me from getting things done or getting everything done that I need to finish sometimes. And so I'm just going to use my list as an example for this part. And what I'm asking myself when I look at my to-do list is, when is done good enough? Okay, so which tasks on this to-do list don't have to be perfect? When is just checking them off good enough? And so just to give you some examples of what I mean, I put a G that for me that stands for good enough. You can color code if you wanted with highlighters, or use whatever resonates with you on your list, but I just use a G. And so getting groceries for me can sometimes be a whole line of things that I have to do, because I have to write my meal plan before I can get my groceries. But before I can do my meal plan, I need to inventory my pantry. Okay, well, I've just added extra things to my to-do list and overwhelming myself enough to just pick up takeout almost every night of the week. So I asked myself, when is done good enough with groceries? Maybe I don't know what I have at home. Maybe I don't know what I have in the refrigerator, but I'm just going to pick up the staples that can get us through the week. Sure, maybe I have spaghetti sauce or noodles or chicken or whatever. If I buy it again, I can freeze it. It's not the end of the world. And so for me, just getting groceries. And also, if you've never tried grocery pickup, that is such a great time saver. But just getting groceries done is good enough for me. Same thing with doing laundry. I have a friend who, she has 3 kids, a lot of laundry, and she has started, every person in the house has a laundry basket assigned to them, and all of their laundry goes in it, not folded. It's washed, it's clean, towels are in there, sheets are in there. All of it's in a laundry basket and it goes in their bedrooms. It's not folded, it's not perfect, but it's good enough. I have a birthday gift for my nephew on here. I would love to personally go pick out his birthday gift and wrap it and put it in a box with confetti, with a nice handwritten card. That's not going to happen. I just need him to get the gift. So I'm going to have Amazon deliver it for me. And I'm going to put happy birthday on that card that they use. That's good enough. He's still getting his gift. It's good enough. And so that's kind of what I mean. And if you look at the other things I have, repotting the mums, you know what? I love the splash of color when I drive up the driveway. If I don't get them in a new pot, I still have that splash of color. It's got to be good enough. If I clean the kitchen, but don't get the microwave cleaned out or the floor mopped, my kitchen is still decluttered. The counters are wiped down. The eating surfaces are clean. That's good enough. So that's what you're doing right now, is just what is good enough. And again, this is a struggle for a lot of us, I think. I remember always being told growing up, any job worth doing is worth doing right. No, sometimes it's worth just having it done. Okay. And like the objective of this step is to make your life easier. Sometimes I say to myself, it's okay to be a Pinterest fail. It doesn't matter. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. So the second part of this step is, where is quality important on my list? And my son's senior pictures, that's where the quality is important. I highlighted that. I'm doing those pictures myself to save money. But it takes some planning. We've got to figure out a location. We've got to figure out outfits. I've got to wrangle him and his schedule. And but I want them to be quality. I'm going to have them forever, and I want them to do well. So the rest of the things are going to be done good enough so I can really put my attention and my energy into doing these senior pictures. Okay, so now we're going to look at the timeline on your list. And so the first thing that you can do is for this step is just look at your tasks and see if any of them have a deadline, and you can write the date beside them. I missed a deadline on one of mine, my birthday gift for my nephew. I should have gotten his birthday written on here, but I want to know which tasks have that deadline. And I put October 31st for these senior pictures because I really want that fall foliage in the background. And I need to get them done by then because I'm going to start losing the color. And then the second part of this timeline is, which one of these tasks are going to take less than 5 minutes to complete? I put a little arrow beside them. I don't like putting a star because that to me is like, hey, pay attention to me. So I just put an arrow. These are going to take less than 5 minutes. And it's like that, doing that takes pressure off. Having the list on paper takes pressure off me. It frees up my brain. And I think that's true for a lot of people. But then going through and looking at it and making these notations and these marks takes more pressure off and helps me get things done. So I look at my list. I have 2 things on there that are going to take less than 5 minutes, probably combined less than 5 minutes. So get it done today, and it's finished. You can cross it off. So those are just those few tricks have really helped me be less of a perfectionist and help me to get things done and allow me to prioritize so that I could focus on the important things, the things where I really want to see the quality. And so often when we are so consumed with these day-to-day things, we forget about those bigger goals, and we forget about the things that maybe we've always said we wanted to do, or always has, you know, it's been in the back of our minds. And so the next part of this is setting long-term goals to find joy. And so if we've been able to take some of those tips about a to-do list and make them into a weekly habit, that will help us prioritize and get our time a little bit more under control, knowing that some weeks it's still going to be just crazy because that's life. And knowing that some days you're not going to have maybe 2 free minutes to yourself. But you know, having that control over those tasks and those responsibilities is important. And I do want to say I actually keep 2 lists. So one is work-based and one is personal life-based. And keeping those separate also helps. And now this is kind of the fun kind of dream part of this presentation, because I want you to take just a few seconds right now to think of something that you've always wanted to do for you, not for your family, not for the homeowners association, not for expectations that other people have of you, but something that you wanted to do for yourself. And so for me, I've always wanted to learn salsa dancing. So that would be what I would pick that would find joy. That's not for anybody else in my life. That's not to fulfill responsibilities. That's just something I would like to learn how to do. And so it might be a home improvement project. Maybe you've always wanted a room just for your plants or your books, or maybe you want your bedroom to be a specific color just for you, or there's a hobby or craft that you wanted to learn, a language, a musical instrument you wanted to learn how to play. Maybe there's a degree or a certification that you've thought about for a long time, but you've never started. So those are just kind of some ideas. It might be a health goal, you know, maybe you want, or a fitness goal. You want to run a 5K or a marathon. So give that just some thought. Remember, and this is the hard part for some of us, for you, not for anybody else. That can be challenging when we have a lot of obligations. And so before we start talking about this one, I want to just switch gears just a little bit and talk about habit versus motivation and how our brain works. And so our brains are resistant to change for multiple reasons. And especially the bigger the change, the more resistant our brains can be. And so if you think about when you write with your dominant hand, sometimes you can do it like when you made your list, kind of almost on autopilot. You don't have to think about it. And so your limbic system is driving that. That's the place that stores your memories and your habits. Now, when you try to write with your other hand, your non-dominant hand, you're really having to put more effort into it. You're having to think about it more. That's coming from your prefrontal cortex. That's responsible for your higher level thinking and planning. And so it's more, it tires you out more. Okay. And so our brains want to fall into those easy pathways, habits form in our neural pathways. And so those new things that we're doing are challenging. And we hear a lot about motivation, and motivation is kind of a fleeting thing sometimes. And you might realize that if you've ever said, I'm going to work out 5 days a week, and then by February, you haven't gone to the gym once, or I'm going to have a book written by the end of the year. And so the first month you write for 30 minutes every day, and then you don't do anything else. And so that motivation wears out. And so where we lose the motivation, that's where we want to form the habits. So what this has to do with our topic today and what we're talking about is that if we make a plan and we set it up with small changes or baby steps, then our brain is more likely to accept that change. And so I love baby steps. They make a huge difference over time. we kind of live in a instant gratification society of, fast food and all these commercials for instantly doing things, get rich quick and all of those things. But the way to build a lasting habit is baby steps. And when I'm talking about baby steps, I'm talking sometimes just the tiniest little change that you can make. And so when you think about the goal for you that would bring you joy, and you think about how could you get to that goal, we're not even going to go through and set up all the things that you have to do. We're just getting started. Think about what the smallest thing that you could do every day to reach that goal. And it has to be, this is important, it has to be something small enough that you will absolutely do it every day without fail. And so if you want to run a marathon, that's your long-term goal. Your smallest habit might be putting on your tennis shoes. Maybe you put on your tennis shoes every day. Maybe you never even step out of the house, but you put your tennis shoes on every day. Okay. And then you track that. Did I put my tennis shoes on today? You can use a calendar, you can make a chart. There are lots of charts online for habit tracking. You want to check mark every single day because that success helps drive your motivation and it helps set that habit. Now, you can always do more, but don't do less. So if your goal, I'm going to put my tennis shoes on every single day, but one day you're like, man, I already have my tennis shoes on. Why don't I walk down to the end of the driveway or run down to the end of the driveway? You can always do more, and often you will do more because that first step, it's almost like you're tricking your brain, like this is all I have to do. But once you get that little step done, maybe you want to do more. Some days, maybe you don't. If you want to write a book, maybe it's, I'm going to write a paragraph a day. What's really important when you pick your first step is that it's literally something that you will do every day. Please don't feel like this is too small to make a difference. Putting on your tennis shoes and that's all that you do, that doesn't get me closer to the marathon. It really does. When you can do it and you see that success, it starts to snowball and can help you. But the tracking part of that is really important and making sure that your goal is not too big. If you have such a super busy schedule and you say you're going to run for 30 minutes every day, no matter what, rain or shine, that's a great, lofty goal, but it may not be reasonable. And so you're going for reasonable here. So if you wrote a paragraph every day for your book, in a year, a paragraph every day might not take you that long, but in a year, you have 365 paragraphs. I don't know how that changes into pages, but it's got to be like half a book or something. So, if you're trying to save up for a financial goal, for me, when I think about wanting to learn how to salsa dance, my tiny goal might be, I'm going to watch on YouTube a salsa dance tip every day. Maybe that's my small goal. Pick something small. Don't feel ashamed about what it is. And remember, this is for you. This is to go hand in hand with your to-do list. And it's going to be small enough that you don't feel overwhelmed by it and you don't shut down. When you feel like you've mastered that, you can set another one and take the next step. You might find that you end up going a lot faster than you anticipated. So that puts us with about 5 minutes left. I don't want to just keep rambling, but that gives us about 5 minutes. If you guys have questions or ideas that you want to share in the chat, now is the time to do that.
Sarah, I definitely, as people are chatting, I want to go back to something that I grabbed from what you said. And I really appreciate when we did that brain dump and started to sort of think through prioritizing like what's there, what has to be done. So the 5 minute, like what are the things that can be done in 5 minutes or less? I know it gives me a boost and some of my endorphins are triggered when I can check something off the list. But so it provides a positive feedback for me, and it also takes away some of that overwhelm when I look at how long the list was, because when you had us do the brain dump and I started writing down things, everything that I brain dump actually has a deadline of today. Like it literally has a deadline of today. So I could immediately start to feel overwhelmed because not only do I have that, I also get off of this and go from 11 until 3 on Zoom, right? And none of these are any of that, but some of them could be 5 minutes. So when you came back and said that piece, I was like, yeah, this isn't going to take me that long. This is 5 minutes or less. This is sending an email. This is 5 minutes, right? So it started to like alleviate immediately some of that moment that I had. So I just kind of appreciate the time to actually do the brain dump and then to look back through it and do the 5 minutes. And this is a life happened to me. So I do this more, but I certainly appreciate you lifting it up. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. What can be good enough? And I posted an executive director once. I was still, fairly early in my career, and I was, doing really well, loved the work that I did. And so I was in my annual evaluation with my executive director, and she said, he says, you did all my evaluation. It was great. It was glowing. I was good. And then she said, here's what I would offer you. And I'm like, what did I not do? Just immediately. And she said, I just want to say to you that, everything that you do doesn't have to be an A+. Sometimes a simple B will suffice. And then she went on to say, Bethany, I didn't even post this. And dare I say, sometimes even a C would be okay. And I was just like, oh, like my heart, I'm like, how could that even be possible, right? And then I've lived a little life. So sometimes I'm relishing in the B. But yes, my natural tendency is to jump back to the A+. So I appreciate that. Because sometimes things then end up not getting done. Because if I couldn't do it at an A+ level, it just gets undone. And that's another level of stress. So that's what I got.
That just adds to the overwhelm, because then every time you walk in the kitchen and see that it's still dirty, whereas if you just picked up the clutter, oh, look, my counters are clear, our eating space is clean, it makes a big difference.
Yeah,
it is retraining how we think about it. And a lot of us are so used to doing that to-do list and then taking off with it, or looking at it and being like, oh, yeah, I'll just turn on Netflix and forget all this.
Exactly. How about Bethany? What do you have, Bethany?
So everything about this presentation, Sarah, is so awesome and feels, it just feels light to be able to look at it in this way and take those small wins. And I think like you've instantly, for a lot of people, at least according to the chat, relieved stress already just by helping to rethink it. And maybe to-do list won't be such a dirty word. Like it won't feel stressful just hearing it, because there are strategies that can make it feel less burdensome. So I appreciate everything you said and walked us through. I really liked your perspective and your take on it. So thank you so much. It was awesome.
Thank you. I'm so glad.
Yeah, I really like the idea, and I have to agree with you on just going in and, like you said, cleaning off the counters. And that just makes the whole kitchen feel so much better, rather than saying, okay, I've got to get in here, I've got to do this, and I've got to get the kitchen looking like Better Homes and Gardens, or I'm not going to be satisfied. And especially with remodeling the house, we've taken everything out of certain rooms and put it all in the dining room. And it looked like I would never get that stuff out of there. And one day I just said, you know what? I'm going to put this stuff in categories. All of the stuff I bought from my mom's house, I'm going to deal with that first. Then I'm going to deal with all the stuff that I think I'm not going to throw out. And then I'm going to deal with the next thing. And gradually, we got the dining room back. But when I was trying to do it all at one time, it was just impossible.
It does, that overwhelming feeling and you know what? I would pay for a magazine rather than Better Homes and Gardens. I would pay for a magazine that is Real Homes and Gardens. That would be so much more relatable.
Yeah.
You might have a winner right there, Sarah. I could see somebody running with that. Like here's the mediocre gardens of the world. Strive for this first.
Yes.
It's so true. When we look to strive for those unrealistic things, whatever it is, right? The way this is supposed to look, or the way we're supposed to be getting our jobs done, or the way we're supposed to be raising our kids, or whatever the thing is. And we look at this unrealistic picture, if you will, of what that is. Boy, doesn't that add to the overwhelm. So take that out of the way. I love the 5 minutes. I love the 5 minutes. Someone shared, years ago, they said, go into it was a hot thing in social media, right? So they started sharing this thing around, if you have 5 minutes, go to an area in your house. So use that 5 minutes and then see what happens, right? So use that 5 minutes to clean off the counter or to do whatever. But it's something about that 5 minutes that feels doable. And even if it really is 5 minutes, there's more clear than what was clear before the 5 minutes, right? But then you might have the 5 minutes and you get a motivation, you get in a flow and do something else. There is something about that 5 minute piece that I think we can grab onto, right? And just the bite-sized chunks, yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
I wanted to call out one thing in the chat so that maybe Sarah could address it, because I think it's important to address this. Someone said they get to the end of their to-do list and instead of being relieved, feel guilty that they should be doing something. Like she feels she's addicted to the to-do list. So Sarah, can you address that? Because I think that a lot of people could relate.
Absolutely. I can 100% relate to that as well. That's definitely okay. I've been so productive. Let me keep being productive. And I think that's something that another thing we have to train ourselves, because we live in this culture of busy. Maybe even getting to the end of your to-do list, you get a treat, like you reward yourself. I mean, maybe you watch an episode of your favorite show, take a walk, have a sweet treat, thinking of things that to you feel like self-care. It feels like maybe paint your fingernails, something that feels like you're nourishing yourself and you're taking care of yourself. That might be a good way to reward checking that last thing off your to-do list, but also keeping in mind that you shouldn't punish yourself if you don't finish that to-do list.
And so for those who really love a list, Karen Poff read my mind.
Yes, mine too.
Make some fun stuff at the end of your list. If you need it written and you need to check it off, you better put a massage, you better put Starbucks, you better put lay down and take a nap, something good. Yes, I love
that. So Karen, Bethany, I'm with you, because I had this, I was just waiting. I'm like, yes, then you add self-care to your to-do list. You can be specific about it, or you can say self-care, or you can add journaling, you write that on your to-do list. If you're motivated, and I am, by checking things off the to-do list, and or you're looking for that. Yes, I'm with you. It's
one thing that brought to mind for me, when I have this big to-do list, lots of times when I'm, like you said, when you get to the end of it, then I start sharing the big accomplishments with people, and that really makes me feel good. I call up somebody and say, hey, guess what happened? I got a news, Antoinette Esther put me on the news. What? Yeah, and so that was those things help me celebrate life, celebrate the fact that I've done something, because an extension is so easy. And I guess with any job, it's so easy to get everything done and go, oh shoot, I got to be doing something. It's almost like you're your own boss looking over your shoulder saying, hey, what are you doing? Are you sitting down? I know you're not just sitting down doing nothing.
Yeah, I think we're harder on ourselves than even our bosses. And one thing I didn't think to mention, but when you've written your to-do list and you say, this is my to-do list for the week, and you look at it, would you expect your best friend or your loved one to be able to do all that? Because that's important to keep ourselves in check. Sometimes we expect too much, but would you expect that from someone you love?
I love that, Sarah. I love that, because often based on the chat and based on things that we've talked about here, there are a lot of us that are in that space that we really are harder on ourselves than we are on anyone else, or that anyone else is on us. And so appreciate that lift up too. So I hope that you all have received some great tips. I see a lot of posting in the chat, Sarah, that people have, we have, and we know that there was a request made for the chat, and Bethany so graciously agreed to work on that. We'll work on that together. We will, just for full transparency, tell you that the chat that comes to us has any private messages that were sent only to hosts and panelists, we will need to take a moment to pull those out. Just, sometimes it was even by mistake, but we'll take the notion that it could have been meant for us privately. We'll pull those out, and then we'll make the chat available when we send out the recording and the slide deck. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here. Sarah, you're getting another invitation in the future. So just know
Awesome.
we'll have you back on this side of the screen again in the future. Thanks
Excellent.
all, and put on your to-do list something fun this weekend. Take care, and we'll see you all later. Thanks all. Bye.